Hey guys, it's Francina Simone, and welcome to the cover reveal! Yeah! So I'm finally going to turn it over today, and before I do that, I do want to let you guys know I'm going to put out a tweet and it'll be pinned on my page. And if you retweet that, 10 people from all of the retweets will win an ebook copy of the book. And one person will win a signed print copy. So yip hip hooray. Without further ado, let's turn that baby around, yeah? Drum roll, please. So guys, oh my god, I am so excited. This book and me have been through so much over so many years. I've spent countless nights thinking about this book and the characters in this book. I just mean, we have been through so much together. I am so relieved to finally have it in my hands. So guys, since I review books all the time, I'm just going to review this book like I would any other book, except I'm obviously going to be a bit biased because, you know, I wrote it. So first I'll give you a synopsis and then we'll get into characters, plot, and world as we do with everything else. The Keeper's Vow. I have to read my own book blurb. How sad is that? Why don't I know anything about my own book? So this book follows 16-year-old Katie Watts. She goes to Hamilton High, which is funny. I named it Hamilton before Hamilton even was a thing. I was just like, who's a dead president? And then I realized I named it Hamilton, and I was like, I don't even think he was a president. And I was like, whatever, I'm not changing it. And now I'm just like, this is the best gift past me gave to future me. So anyways, Katie, she goes to Hamilton High School, and she's extremely lazy. She's like a C mediocre student. She just does what she has to get by. This chick is not somebody that you're going to study with. She's not somebody who cares a lot about a whole bunch of stuff, except for her side hobbies. She has so many. She picks up knitting. She picked up being a movie critic for 5 days. She was a gerbil breeder for like maybe 30 seconds. Everything that she does half-heartedly, and she doesn't really commit to it. So she definitely isn't ready for a strict training program that essentially opens her up to the world of vampires, werewolves, fae, and all sorts of other magical beings. Now this all starts when Tristan steps into the scene, which is actually page 1. He completely turns her life upside down. Her dad has tried to keep this whole guardian secret from her entire life, and because Tristan doesn't like people that have happy lives, he completely burst that bubble. So that leaves us with Katie joining the guardian program as a late bloomer. She doesn't know much about anything. Everyone is already high and advanced above her. She's struggling with stuff. She was already a C student to begin with. And to make matters worse, her and Tristan are essentially tied at the hip as they become training partners at her school. Now, life wouldn't be so bad if it just ended there. But as Katie delves deeper and deeper into this world, as she finds out why her dad's been keeping everything from her, she finds out a lot of ugly stuff and a lot of stuff about Tristan that ends up sucking her into something a lot more dangerous than she signed up for, and the story ensues. I'm gonna go ahead and rate this on an authenticity scale. That'd be totally fucking biased of me, wouldn't it? I mean, I don't think you guys can trust my judgment on there. So I'm just gonna talk about it like I do every other book, because if I didn't, it'd be weird and it'd be boring. So let's just jump into character. So we have our main character, Katie. Katie, she suffers from selfishness syndrome. Now, it probably stems from the fact that her entire life just got flipped upside down, but she is highly focused on herself in this book, and at times, it tends to backfire. Now, I have to say that I do love the way that it does backfire on her, because I'm not a type of person who's really nice to my characters. I don't have darlings. In fact, there's another character who I've tried to kill multiple times, but it just didn't work for the story. But as far as consequences go, Katie suffers a lot, especially a lot of consequences that have to deal with her friendship, with her best friends, with Tristan, and of course the consequence of, you know, being pretty shit at school. So as far as Katie goes, I give her a 5 out of 5. She's flawed and she doesn't apologize for it most of the time, which is another flaw. Next, we have our main character, Tristan. He is a fucking tough nut to crack. From the very first page, we see that Tristan is a very aloof type of person. He is not very big on making friends fast. He's not very big on being an open type of person. He's extremely independent, and so he even has trouble with parental figures. So Tristan and Katie tend to clash a lot, especially since they're kind of glued to the hip as they become partners in training. By the end of the first chapter, we find out something about Tristan that really puts a lot into perspective about why he's so independent and so different from Katie. However, that does not come without its consequences in his personal life and in his relationships with other people, because he is so aloof and because he can be so prickly. He often rubs people the wrong way. And when you're in a world looking for friends because you're all alone, being an asshat generally isn't the way to go about it. With Tristan, I give him a definite 5 out of 5 for character authenticity. I like that kid. He's swell. I do have to say, if you enjoy characters who are kind of assholey from the start, but eventually warm up and let you in and let you see their vulnerabilities and grow from it, then you'll probably really love Tristan. He's one of those best friends that you'd have that, you know, they don't call you ever and they rarely talk to you, but when you see them, you know, they're there completely 100%. There's nothing superficial going on. So if you love that, you'll love Tristan. As far as side characters, we have Katie's best friends, Allison and Brian. Allison, who has always been there for Katie. She's really smart. She's a go-getter. She is the top of her class, and she stops for no one and nothing. But she will also bring you up along the way. Brian is a completely different story. Allison and Brian are partners, and as Allison is the top of her class, Brian is probably towards the bottom. But that does not stop him from being extremely popular. However, Brian is dealing with a lot of stuff on his own. So as the story goes on, a lot of his issues cause conflict with Katie, as she feels like she's losing her best friend. Next, we have the parents. Now, the way Katie's life is set up, you'd think that her parents were divorced because she spends the majority of her time between two houses. Her home with her dad and her home with Brian's parents, Lucinda and Will. Growing up, she spent a lot of time at Brian's house with his family for many different reasons. And Lucinda has become quite a bit like her second mom. If there's one thing that I can say about this book, it's that they sure do deal with the consequences of being irresponsible. One thing that I do love about the adults in this book is they are very flawed, they have made mistakes of their own, and they're constantly dealing with the mistakes of their past, the mistakes of their present, and when they don't, their lives do fall apart around them. And just like a snowball, it does affect the young adults in this story. Now, there are many other characters in the book, some of which I think are freaking amazing, but I will leave that up to you to discover. Now, let's talk about plot. This book focuses on two different plots. There is a heavy internal struggle in this first book because it is very heavily based on Katie's awakening. So Katie's internal struggle is all about keeping up. It's all about figuring out who she is and what her life is supposed to be. Because the fact of the matter is, she really had no direction before the start of this book, and everything shakes up. And though it seems like she should have a very solid direction because she's put into such an intense training program, every time she feels like she has a grasp on things, something else just comes slamming into her from left field, knocking her off balance. Because she is so focused on herself, she does lose sight of everyone around her, and she does lose sight of some of the most important people in her life and the problems that they're dealing with. Now, there are two very big external plots in this book, and one of them I would say is Tristan. The unique thing about this book is, though it is through Katie's perspective, the story is actually not about Katie, it's about Tristan. The story starts with Tristan, mainly because him coming into everyone's life is like ripping off a band-aid of a festering wound. Now, there's a second external plot that I'm not going to talk about because you can read about it. I would say that as a first book in this series, this one specifically is very heavy internally, but the external plot is weaved heavily throughout the book, and it's like a puzzle. As everything comes together, the bigger picture is seen, and it can be very impactful. So now, world building. This is actually my favorite part of this. This world actually takes place in our own, except for there's an underground city in Boise that is full of the paranormal. This underground city looks a lot like what maybe New York City would look like at night. It is vast, it's huge, it's got different sectors because there are different species that live down there. And actually a lot of it is unexplored by Guardians. And I will have to say that the second book really delves deep into Gray City, but the first book does scratch on the surface. Now, I got the inspiration from the underground city is actually Boise in itself is rumored to have an underground city. I'm not from here, so I don't know completely. And now I think it's been debunked. I don't think there is. There's actually a lot of locations and place names that I've taken inspiration from in Boise and put into the book. So read this book and Boise will come alive. However, I would never suggest that you use this book as like a roadmap to walk around downtown Boise because you will get lost. It's all made up. I made it all up. I just took inspiration from it. So if you come here, use Google Maps. So guys, in all seriousness, I really hope that you enjoyed The Keeper's Vow. Book 1 was extremely fun to write. Definitely so far though, Book 2 is my favorite because we're introduced to a lot of cool characters there, and Gray City is explored at length, and a lot of serious topics are really covered in that book. This book is such a great introduction to all of that, and to Katie and Tristan, and there's a lot of action in this book. Some of the violence can be a bit graphic, and I do have to say that if you love romance, you'll probably really enjoy this story, especially if you like romance that simmers to a boil. Katie and Tristan start off on a really rough start, so They aren't friends, let alone like in love interest in the beginning. But as the book goes on, they do develop a friendship that gets a bit angsty. So if you love romances like that, do check this out. I really hope you guys enjoy it. Really thank you for all the support, guys. And especially you guys have been so excited about the cover reveal. So I really do appreciate all the support. I appreciate you guys asking about the book, looking for the book, joining in the giveaways, participating, watching my videos, just viewing the channel. Really, I do. And so many of you have pre-ordered the book already, and that means so much to me. So thank you, everybody. And I hope that you enjoy this book as much as I loved writing it. And of course, don't forget that it is available for purchasing in print and ebook on September 7th. So go ahead and mark your calendars. But because I just love giving stuff away, and not everybody can always win in the giveaways, Saturday and Sunday, the ebook pre-order will be on sale for $1.99. So if you definitely want to pick it up, I would pick it up Saturday or Sunday. Of course, be sending out tweets about that. So if you're not following me on Twitter, go ahead and follow me at Francina Simone. But as always, thanks for watching, guys, and I will talk to you later. TTYL, ta-ta for now. Bye!